Good evening once again, and welcome to the Monday Review Show. And this, for most of you who have been watching, and for those of you who have not, this is where we discuss all things referees and refereeing and incidents from games, etc., etc. I'm sure you know the format by now. If you'd like to make a comment, please do so, or you'd like to ask a question, please also do so. Little area down on the bottom right-hand side of your screen where you can make that comment to the show, and we'll do our best to cover it for you. Delighted to be joined once again by my regular guests now, and very good friend, Keith Hackett, former Premier League referee, former international referee, former head of the PGMOL, and those are the guys who looked after referees in England in the Premier League and the Championship, and the man responsible for introducing goal line technology, which has been hugely successful over the years, where the referee carries what looks like a little watch in his right hand, and that tells him whether the ball has actually crossed the line or whether it hasn't. And it's been completely uncontested by players when that happens. There's never any argument. So credit to my guest, as I mentioned, Keith Hackett tonight, for introducing that. Good evening, Keith. You've got a bit of a chilly cold, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting to the end of it. Don't worry. So I'm really looking forward to the show. I think we've got, as always, lots to discuss.
Absolutely. So I want to start with something I picked up. Liverpool player, Szoboszlai, the Hungarian player, I think he's captain of the Hungarian team as well. But he had, I noticed on his hand, he was wearing a ring, but it was covered with tape. And that is completely outlawed, because I'm going by, it's an oldish book now, 2017, 2018, the laws of the game, the one we used to get the hardcover. And now it's all digitized and so on. But on Law 4, players' equipment, it says, well, let's start at safety. A player must use equipment. A player must not use equipment or wear anything that is dangerous. And then it goes on to expand on that. And it said all items of jewelry, and in brackets, necklaces, rings, bracelets, earrings, leather bands, rubber bands, etc., are forbidden and must be removed. And then it goes on to say using tape to cover jewelry is not permitted. All the players must be inspected before the start of the match and substitutes before the end of the field of play. If a player is wearing anything, is wearing or using unauthorized or dangerous equipment or jewelry, the ref must order the player to remove them, leave the field of play at the next stoppage if the player is unable or unwilling to comply, and a player who refuses to comply or wears the item again must be cautioned. Now, yet I do see it time and again, and in fact, whether it's in some sort of act of solidarity with the players, I have seen referees actually covering their wedding ring or whatever rings they might have on. I mean, why are these laws being flouted all the time?
I don't know. I generally think that one of the dangers we have, isn't it? We have ex-professional players influencing the changes in the laws of the game, a softening of attitudes towards players' misbehavior. And what we're seeing is we're also seeing referees trying to appease and be part of the spectacle rather than actually being the official who applies authority. It was quite clear when I was boss of the PGMOL, we did in the tunnel an inspection of equipment. It's simple to do. At that point, if someone is wearing a ring, forgotten to take it off, or it's taped, then you're at a point where you can ask for that to be removed and restrict that player entering the field of play if it's not removed. And I think so it's easier to be proactive than reactive, because I think sometimes on the field of play you may miss it, but television doesn't miss it.
No.
I watched a bit of the rugby the singing of the national anthem on Saturday, I think it was, yeah. And one of the players had still got his smartwatch on. You know when they put their arms around the shoulders and sing the national anthem. And
was that the England and Australia game?
Yeah, I thought that must be an official. And then I look and I'm thinking, no, that's a player. And I think these are the sort of things that, laws are made and changed and amended when required, all with the interests of the players' safety. And we might smile and think that the tape ring is not a danger to an opponent. Just get a smack in the face with someone that's wearing one, and you'll soon find out that's probably split open a part of your face or giving you a sort of black eye. And I just think that the guys sit down, they make the laws of the game. I'm critical, as we have been. We were critical last week on the equipment and shin pads, shin guards, and the watering down there. Come on, I think the authorities need to sort of say, right, this is it. And then when referees or a country like England that's on the Premier League and on world stage not applying these laws, then I think the IFAB have every right to come back and say to the English FA, why is this allowed to happen? I can remember I did a game in 1988, which was the rest of the world against the Football League team. It was a Football League centenary match. Maradona and others played. And in that game, they had a lot of players who wanted to play for either side. So at one period, we were getting a large number of substitutions in the game. And I can tell you that FIFA wrote to the Football Association asking why I had allowed so many substitutions to be allowed when the law was quite specific. So it has happened in the past. I'm someone that's taken that heat because I allowed it to happen. It was all arranged by the Football League, by the way. But nonetheless, I'm the man in the middle. I'm supposed to apply the laws of the game accurately. On this occasion, what was effectively a charity match, I made certain allowances. FIFA were not happy. And I think this is where they've got to be. I think that they've got to come in when countries don't apply the laws correctly, then they should have their say. If you remember, years ago, again in '82, I refereed in the North American Soccer League, where they had an independent timekeeper and a countdown clock, and the offside lines were only applicable. They extended the penalty area across to the touchline. There were certain changes. And again, FIFA and IFAB at that particular time were unhappy and almost outlawed America in relation to the game that they were playing and how the IFAB laws wanted them to be interpreted.
The irony here, though, Keith, is that the technical committee is headed up by David Ellery. So he, being an Englishman and a former Premier League referee and a former FIFA referee, surely to goodness, he's the chairman. So surely to goodness, he should make his feelings known on these, well, what would you call them? Flouting, really, or changing or ignoring the laws of the game. I mean, we used to, like I said earlier, we used to get them in this hardcover.
Correct.
And they are the guys who write these laws and amend them when necessary or when needed. And he is there. So he should know better, or certainly as well as the other members of the committee, that this is blatant flouting of the laws. Now, I know there are guys out there, and I'm waiting on your messages to come through, that we're being pernickety and petty, but it's just another chipping away at the law. And how far should they be allowed to chip away? They shouldn't.
Yeah, I think the other side of this, of course, is that if it's allowed at senior elite level, elite level of the game, it makes it very difficult for that young referee out in the
Indeed,
parks
indeed, on a
applying the
Sunday
law.
morning. Yeah, absolutely. It makes it very difficult for guys at the lower level to be able to apply the laws, which they are rightly doing, when I'm sure they'll get comments from the sideline and coaches and even players. Oh, but it happened yesterday and the referee said nothing. Now, Szoboszlai, the Liverpool player, twice he missed he had a shot on goal and he put his hands up to his face and you could see the ring was taped.
Yeah.
Now, they may say, oh, well, I couldn't take it off. Well, then he shouldn't be allowed to play, period.
Correct. I think in this instance, the FA should write, excuse me, the FA should write to the club with their observations.
Yeah.
And I think that at the same time, they should copy in the PGMOL and ask why the law has been flouted.
And it is regularly, Keith. That's the That's the point. Yeah. It's regularly flouted. Yeah. And the referees have the final say. Yet they're allowing it to happen. Now, who among the refereeing fraternity at Premier League level are brave enough to stand up to this?
Well, I think that they're on solid foundation. They're there to apply the laws of the game. Yeah. They can point to law 4. They can say that they're taking this action for the safety of the players. And I mean, I think it's simple, but I think that if I was Howard Webb, I would be asking that referee, why was that allowed? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, refereeing at the elite level in England is managed and controlled by Howard Webb. He sets the examples. He sets the tone of things. He's the link between the PGMOL, the organisations, and the PFA and the players and managers. And so I'm quite clear that that's what should happen.
This was Stuart Atwell. Anyway, the amount of wrestling, Keith, and we've touched on this time and again. Oh, my goodness. They were throwing each other all over the place in the same Liverpool Villa game. And Stuart Atwell was there. And either unwilling or unable to do anything about it. I mean, it's either a free kick to the defending team or it's a penalty kick to the attacking team, so long as the ball is in play, of course. If the ball's in play, and not all the time. Some of the time it's happening when the guy's waiting to take the corner. So you can do nothing there except warn the player.
Correct.
But as soon as the ball is in play, then he can take action and give a free kick or a penalty kick, a free kick to the defending team or a penalty kick to the attackers. And that is not happening.
Well, I thought in the notes that I have that pre-season, Howard Webb may have said that there was going to be effective clampdown on grappling in the penalty area. And I've not seen any outcome in terms of referees applying that. It's just gone on from season to season. So, I mean, there was one occasion when, the player just threw his opponent or pushed his opponent flat on his back and completely ignored. And, I just made reference to it earlier. We are supposed to be refereeing football, not rugby.
Mm. Or wrestling.
Or wrestling.
Just a reminder, you guys out there, you're watching the Monday Review Show. We go out every Monday night, I beg your pardon, every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK Irish time. We're on the same time zone. And if you'd like to make any comments, please do so. Or you'd like to ask a question, please do so. And we have one here from Sean Block, who's a regular contributor to the show. He said, we saw some full bear hug holding in the MLS over the weekend without any referee intervention. Clearly, players were frustrated by being held. At one point, there was a caution to the person being held because he got frustrated and pushed the other person to the ground. Yeah.
I mean,
the took no action.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a disappointing part of football that it's almost become the norm. And confusion exists and the matter needs to be resolved. And, I think that, I think the IFAB should put out a circular to all the organisations, making it very clear that they are unhappy that the game is changing from football more towards rugby, and that they would expect match officials to take a firmer line. They come up, I don't think they come up with the idea of at corner kicks, the referee stopping the corner kick from being taken, going in and having a word, coming out. The word's done nothing, but it's supposed to be a proactive approach. And we see players continuing to wrestle, and that's not football or soccer as it should be. And so therefore, I think the game is being spoiled by this. The number of people that email me, football fans, who say, why are the referees being so weak? And I think that there's a general view in refereeing sometimes that weak refereeing gains you success. But all the referees I've known, you included, having seen one or two of your games on YouTube, and referees that I've run the line to, this wasn't part of the game because they penalised it across the board. And referees at that level, when we were amateurs, would meet twice a year and be told what is expected of us. And frankly, if we didn't apply the laws as anticipated by the organisations, either we got demoted or we didn't get promoted when that's what we were looking for.
Sean has another question there. I'm curious if you have advice, he says. What should we tell the youth players, knowing we have the laws of the game and not applying it at the professional level?
I'm clear. On the situation that we see in goal situations at the moment and the grappling that's going on at grassroots level, referees apply the law. And by that, I mean, I don't think you have to go in and make your noise heard every time there's a corner kick. Just give a penalty kick or a free kick. That's it. That's my advice. If they don't listen to your first words early in the game, then don't repeat something that's making you look a bit of a fool.
Yeah.
So,
and
get back.
It's so easy to give a free kick to the defending team. The easy way out. It's the easy way out. I'm waiting for a referee to be brave enough to give a penalty kick and then see what happens. And Keith, they would soon get used to it, just like they've now gotten used to goalkeepers not being allowed to hold the ball longer than 8 seconds. They've gotten used to it now. And what was the other one? There was another one. There was another one also where the free kicks where the players have to be a meter apart, not a corner kick, a free kick have to be a meter apart. Why can't they do that from corner kicks as well?
Well, I think it's something that you've promoted for several months now.
Yeah,
and I find myself every time you mention it nodding it. It seems, with greatest respect to it, it seems such a natural thing to apply. And if we're looking at, for example, in the recent meeting of the IFAB business meeting, they were talking about reducing the goalkeeper now to 5 seconds. And they were also looking at applying a similar format for throw-ins. And so I'm all for proactive refereeing that underpins authority and says I'm in control of proceedings. But at the moment, there are times when I look and I think I'm witnessing weak refereeing.
Yeah. Keith,
You know,
there's one now, and I've been thinking about this for a while. Instead of throw-ins, what about if they gave it like an indirect free kick from where the ball left the field of play, where the player takes the throw-in? Why not put the ball down and give it as a free kick?
well, I mean, I suppose that as someone who enjoys the history of the game, I'm reluctant. I sort of moan every year when I see so many changes taking place that are just so like don't really impact on the game at all. And you think, why have they changed it?
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that change has created more confusion than before. You know,
because
so for me, yeah. So, you know, I think there are times when they should experiment these things. And they should say, right, okay, in a lower level competition organised by FIFA, that might be the World Cup and 20s or whatever, let's run this as a trial. And if they see it speeds up the process, then it's gained, hasn't it? We've gained something. But at this moment in time, all I'm seeing is one-handed throws going unpunished.
And only 1 foot on the ground when the ball leaves the hands. And
yeah.
And not only that, there's players stealing 10, 15 yards sometimes.
You know, I was asked earlier on BBC Radio Sheffield this evening about a manager's claims. I think it's Chris Wilder of Sheffield United, who, in my opinion, had every right to be very concerned about a penalty kick awarded against his team for an alleged handball when the player actually fell on it. There was no way that was a penalty kick. But with his remarks came a worry that he was seeing a decline in the refereeing standards. And I was asked the question, what was my view? And all I do, and it's difficult because I know the game's changed, but there are, if you like, natural things that referees should do in applying the laws that they're not doing. And for me, that is a deterioration of the quality of match officials. And I look at some and I think, you know, when they have a big game, they suddenly wake up and become a much better referee. When they've got a lower league game, you know, they're less active. Don't put in the same amount of effort. My answer was, and I was disappointed I had to say it, that yes, I do think the standard across the board has dropped. You know, and I go back to the likes of George Courtney, Peter Willis, you know, Graham Paul, Paul Durkin, Pat Partridge, Jack Taylor, you know, Ken Burns, you know, these referees and others, you know, Abraham Klein, who was an outstanding official, Israeli referee, who never got a World Cup. But I generally sort of think the standards have dropped, despite the fact that in England we made the decision to go professional. And I was an instigator of that, as you know, and I'm not seeing the return on the investment that's been made.
Yeah.
And that is down to one thing. That is down to, you know, leadership and direction. And I think that's what's missing.
Just a couple of other points, Keith. Where in the laws does it say? I'm being facetious now. Where in the laws does it say that a player is allowed time to tie his laces? I saw this during the week, and I was absolutely appalled. Where not only was he tying his lace and the referee giving him the time, he was in front of the ball for the free kick to make sure that the ball wouldn't be kicked until his laces were tied. Yeah. So it was so cynical. There's nothing in the laws of the game that says you're allowed time to tie your laces.
No, if the law actually says if an adjustment to the equipment has to be made, this is like a blood injury where it's gone on your shirt. You leave the field of play.
Oh, yeah.
And the changes are made. And before that player is allowed back on the field of play, there's an inspection.
Yeah. And another one, Keith, where a player went off in the tackle, went off on the goal line, not far from the goal post, and slid right down against the advertising hoarding. And the referee held up the play for that as well until he was treated and so on. Once he's off the field of play, the trainers can come around and take care of him, or the medical staff.
Yeah.
The referee doesn't have to hold up the play for that. He's off the field. And adding on to that, how many times have you seen players going down injured along the touchline? They're just off and they roll back onto the field again to slow the play down. I mean, this is very, very poor refereeing. And let me say it to you people out there. Keith and I are not here referee bashing. We're pointing out things that referees are doing that they should not be doing. And even more so because they're on television and people are watching it, and younger referees are watching this, and teams are watching this. And when these younger referees go out on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, they're going to say, but it happened in the game yesterday, blah, 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 blah. And it puts them on. So the guys, I just wonder if the professional guys, the guys in the Premier League and in the Championship for that matter, are they conscious of this, of their actions, that they could be influencing situations in other games and making life difficult for other referees on a Sunday morning game?
Well, I think the first thing is, I mean, that is a natural, yes, that it is. But I think it's also tarnishing their own reputation.
Yeah.
If clubs are witnessing as they do, they'll run through a game to look at the referee.
Of course.
They'll look at his weaknesses and strengths. You know, it's naive to think that the clubs don't analyse the referee's performance. They do. And as a consequence of that, they'll take advantage. You know, if they see a piece of weakness, this guy's not too pedantic on position, so go down the merry field, down the touch line as far as you want, and you don't have to go back the full length. All these sort of things that we're talking about is referees not applying the laws correctly. And I don't think, you know, we come from a professional game environment, we operated at international level, but we still applied the laws of the game, and we built our reputation. And we might say to ourselves, why have we got this big game? You know, when I was boss of the PGMOL, I had really 3 referees at that particular time, Graham Paul, Howard Webb, Mark Halsey, and you knew which referee. If there was going to be a tight, clear game, excuse me, you would put Paul as first choice, as the peacemaker, and by that I mean his authority would not be challenged. If it was, that player would be no longer on the field of play. Often he was criticised as being a little bit arrogant, but that was confidence, and he delivered top-class performances on a regular basis. And some of my referees would say, why is he getting all these regular appointments? And I'd go, because it makes life easier for me. because he's setting the example for others. And by the way, if you want that big game, you've got to be refereeing like him.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's as simple as that. But at this moment in time, you know, we've got. I mean, I criticised Michael Salisbury last week, who had Everton. I thought his performance was poor. And this week, he refereed Sheffield United. And, you know, the calls to local radio have been pretty consistent. That their expectation of a Premier League referee was going to be that they were going to get a good performance. They got the opposite. And so as a consequence, I think we have to be, if you like, pretty strict.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I expect you to do. And if you don't carry it out to my expectation, don't expect to get appointed to the game.
Well, we run out of time again, Keith. My goodness, the time goes very, very quickly. Thanks so much, Keith, for joining me.
Pleasure.
And thank you out there for watching, and for Sean for making the comments. And we'll do it all again next week, same time, 8 o'clock, same place. It's the Monday Review Show on Facebook.com/Hanging Judge Reft. Good night, Keith. Thank you.
Good night.